What's going on, Dandy Crew? It's Dandy Drew here, and we are back for another Place It Out series where we're going to take a board, go through all the different positions from first, second, third, and fourth, and on the way back, 5, 6, 7, 8. But not only are we going to do that today, but we're also going to do it with the TSI crew. We got two of the students who are going to be joining us who played in this game, and hopefully we're going to spark a little bit of discussion, bring some questions to the fold. Ultimately, by the end, we'll have a completely placed up board, and then as a bonus, we also have the game that they played on this board, so we can start to look at what actually happened and get some insights from that. So, how you guys doing?
Hey, Drew, doing all right. Thanks for breaking this down for us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. No worries. So you guys see my screen, right?
Yep.
Perfect,
Yes.
perfect. All right, so there's the board. So, yeah, this is an interesting one. Because you guys are playing base random, it's not so clear. Sometimes with these base random boards, you get these very interesting production spots in the middle of the board. So, for instance, your 693, which is something that my eyes instantly gravitated towards for a few reasons because, well, it's one of the best wheats. So it's one of the best wheat ore combos. So you kind of know you have a game built into that. But then if you also look, the brick is rare here. Extremely rare. So I kind of feel this just kind of screams opportunity for me. And I'm also very curious when I look at this board and kind of see the coastal spots, something like the 5-6, Wheatport, 5-8, 3-1. There's just some fun opportunities here. So I think with the 6-9-3, you always have something to work with. So that was my first pick on this board. Other options you could potentially go for, maybe the 8-9-3 here to play off of the Sheepport. But I do think you lose a 3-1 here, just kind of alluding to that previously. Then you also can play something like the 9-6-10 on the basis that, well, you do have a 3-1. You're probably going to lose the 5-6. Kind of has the same fate as the 8-9-3 here. But you do have this kind of built-in ore sheep game, and then you can pick up the ore on the way back because there's a lot of ore spots. So to me, those are the three picks, but I think the one that's the clearest is just the 6-9-3. So who was first on this board?
Shock went first, so he was, I think, purple. But
Okay, you don't have to tell me what he did, but I'm just curious. Okay. Your thoughts there. I mean, do you like it? Do you not like it?
Look, I love the 693. I was surprised. I was in third position and I ended up getting it. So I was like, dang, this spot is like really good for me.
Okay.
But I was actually really scared about it when I took it because I knew the 6 and 9 was gonna get hammered all game.
Mhm.
Because the 6-9-10 and the 2-4-6 were both open. And actually Overland ended up getting both of those spots there. And the 6 and the 9 did indeed get blocked all game. So
Yeah, well, I
I
mean,
kind of saw that coming, but I don't know. I just considered that a lot, and I still had to take the spot though.
yeah. I mean, you can't be too afraid of, the future will play out the way it will, but it's still a great spot, even though you should expect the robber hitting it at some points. I mean, if potentially you could get a sheep spot, and we'll talk about what that might look like, you could have your own development cards. Now, where the road goes here is interesting for me because I think a lot of players would point left, but I think there's just too much risk. I mean, really, you'd be playing for the 6-3, but I think actually the safer bet, funny enough, is point down. Because either
Exactly what I did.
Okay, we'll see how that played out. Don't tell us. But I think worst case is if you get a road builder, you go to 10-11, you pick up some extra sheep, some extra brick, works out pretty well. For the second pick, I actually really like the 9-6-10 here. I just think having the built-in sheep and wheat combination, knowing that there's so much ore on this board, you're kind of guaranteed an ore wheat sheep game. Now, obviously, your weakness is the 9 wheat, which can get blocked and slow your machine down, but it's kind of a weird board because there's really not that much wood and brick together here that really makes the road strategy that viable. Gary, I'm curious, was this a hot spot maybe in the first or second pick? I'm assuming not. But...
Nope. This was left the fourth.
yeah, no, I was shocked that these guys let that make it all the way to fourth. I mean, kind of like Michael was saying, I knew that the 9 was going to get blocked a bunch, but it was just with the production there, you just couldn't really pass it up.
Got it. Okay. So I think the pick's really clear here in third to me, which is the 8-9-3. And the reason I come to the 8-9-3 is the calculation for fourth is also kind of obvious. which is, so if you go 893, and again, we're expecting the 8-5 to go, most likely. The sheep port's good here. I do find fourth is probably going to play off of something like the 4-8-2 and maybe 5-6, which has the wheat port, and if you point right, I don't think anybody takes the 8-10, so you have that ability to potentially go to the 8-10 wheat port development cards. Also, too, unblockable wheat, isolated 5 for now. I kind of like that personally. Just as an example. Also, maybe you could play off the 4-5-3 and pick up the brick, go 8-10. It's another option. Let's keep it simple here. Point right. And then now, third has the 4-5-3, which gives you all 5 resources. Again, you have not too much wheat, but I think getting the sheep port will solve all your problems. And you also have the best brick, the best wood. It's pretty nice. Now, as blue, we're going to take the 6-4-2, which is double ore, double sheep. Oh, didn't mean to point. Didn't mean to point down. That's a bot road. Hold up. Point left here. So now 6-3's on the menu. So far, so did that make sense for third's pick here?
For sure.
And then what do you guys think about fourth? And I kind of go into a wheat sheep game, but I think there's some life here with the wheat port and the 8-10 in your back pocket.
Like 4 is really slow, but I guess if you settle on the 5-6, you get that starting ore, which is nice.
Yeah, that's the idea, is that with the 5-6 start, you know, if you roll a wheat, you can pop a development card, or if you want to try to save for a city, then you do have the wheat port. So, like I said, alternatively, maybe you go 4-5-3 and you play a little slightly different game, and then try to get to the 8-10 and then use that wood and brick somehow. That's also an idea. Where would you guys go, given this particular board layout? Where would you go for first last pick?
I go 4, 10, 11 down for sure.
4, 10, 11 down for sure.
With the idea of getting to the 5.
Okay. Well, what are your options? We'll start there. How about that?
9-4 and the 10-11 really. Maybe the 8-5.
Yeah, the 8-5 on the 3-1's not terrible either.
8-5's one. 9-4 is certainly another, which gives you a little bit more or cheap game. 9-4-11's an idea, and also an idea that you
8-10,
could.
I guess.
8-10, yeah, that's okay. It's okay. Obviously the port's nice, and you really, I don't know if you kill his game, but definitely makes it a little bit more difficult. Also 5-11's an interesting idea here, and the idea is you start with the sheep. And the idea is you could potentially go 5-11 point left, go 4-10-11. So it's like, okay, instead of getting the 2 wood and the ore, you're getting maybe a little bit more of a better ratioed setup, because your wood and brick are matched and your ore wheat sheep's near perfectly matched.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So, but of course the issue with that is if any of these players pull road builder, you might get destroyed. So that's the risk. I also think 8-5 is very interesting to me, because there's a very good shot that this player, white, might prioritize the sheep port first, leaving the 3-11-12 open, which would actually be really good to go with the 8 wood. So 8-5 if you think you can make a deal to get the 3-11-12, 5-11 if you want to be a little more independent, and if you want to go for more of a traditional or wheat sheep, 9-4, but I think you're losing the sheep port, so the flexibility is pretty bad there without any kind of starting port. But let's say 8-5 with the idea of going 3-11-12. That could be a board.
Interesting.
If you want to be ultra simple, 5-11 left. There you go. What do we think? Does this seem reasonable, or did we miss something here?
Yeah, this seems reasonable.
I think so. So, actually looking at your guys' board here. So this was the game. Let's see, so you said Shock went first, right? 9-8-3. Think
Shocking pick.
so that was the first pick.
Yeah.
I think my issue with this is if you're calculating the 8-5 going, then you're taking really this only for the sheep port, because you don't really have enough wheat. the wood, there's not enough brick to go with the wood, so you're really banking off the sheep port with this play. Like that has to be his reasoning, or at least kind of if you look a little deeper at this board. But okay. 693 is now really good because the options become even more available. Yep. Point down. Cool. 842. Okay, well that's just a misplay. I mean, I don't think we have to think too deeply about that one. And then chaos, huh? Yep. And then 642 left. All right. That was the setup that I mentioned. I don't really like the right here though. I mean, what are you going to do? Pick up a little bit more sheep and a little bit of brick with a 2 wood? Much better to go get the port, be able to churn a lot of that additional orange sheep that you're going to most likely have. Just better. Okay, 5-6. Similar to the version that I had previously, but with this one, you don't have as much wheat. So now the wheat port's not as effective. And then 4-5-11. It's pretty good, man. It's pretty good. And then shock takes to 5-3-12. What is his other options? Okay. Yeah, so he's got some of the brick. And again, this is kind of a sheep port play if you look at it. He's going to the brick port. All right, so what was the thought? Like, how did this go for you guys? Maybe you want to walk me through or talk me through some of it? How was everyone
Didn't actually
feeling?
feel too great about it. I really liked my setup, but I knew it would be really slow for me. I just have to try to pull dubs. Like my 5 got blocked a lot, my 9 got blocked a lot, and I didn't really like have any good settle spots. Because I knew there's no way I was getting the 10-11. So I was just like, should I have pointed maybe like left here? Try to get to 6-3 maybe.
No, I think this is fine. You have a wood port. The port situation is your worst situation, but the thing is, in terms of your overall production and ratios, it's pretty damn good. I mean, you shouldn't be like, you should be thrilled with the setup. I mean, okay, your expansions aren't great, but a road builder can solve a lot of problems for you, and you should be able to do stuff here. It'll be interesting to see what happened. Chaos, what happened with you here?
So I was actually pretty pumped about this because I didn't think I'd get either of the spots I ended up getting when it came to me at 4th, but I did. So placing here, I just knew that 6 ore was going to get blocked a bunch all game, but the theory was if I get on that 4-6-2, then at least I'm getting ore, decent ore at all times. And then the 6-9-10, I just really like the production there. And I felt like the 10 wheat or the 10 sheep and the 6 sheep weren't going to get blocked a ton. The 6 sheep more than the 10. And then also just knowing that 9 wheat would get blocked. But the goal was with the road pointing up and to the left on the 6-4-2, try to get to that 4-3-2 and diversify. I get some more pips of wheat, and then I'd be in a really good spot, I felt like.
Yeah, this spot is so insane for you. It's not even like triple wheat, double ore, double sheep. Kind of the dream in terms of ore, wheat, sheep. I do think the road here is a little bit wasteful. Again, and the next session we're going to go into plans. But one of the biggest things for you is just making sure that you get a good city spot and getting a port. And ideally, your first kind of missions are the city and the port. Though I do think getting the 4-3-2 probably supersedes the port here just because of how good this kind of makes your setup. Because the whole point of the port is efficiency, but if you can pick up the wheat to make your setup keep flowing and be more efficient anyways, then you don't need the port as much. So the 4-3-2 actually
that makes sense.
Kind of is your efficient mechanism. Oh, man, I mean, Shock, obviously having this brick does give him some opportunities. Like, for instance, if he can backtrack and pick up some of this production or maybe even get to the 3-1 on the 8-5 here, which I actually think he can. Like, the only way green takes this spot away if he gets a road builder or a yop. So chances aren't great. The Shock has some potential, but he's certainly got to play it with an eye for caution here. But okay, are there any notable spots worth going through? Like, or do you just want me to kind of go through the flow of the game?
Yeah, I pulled a road builder and I didn't really know what to do. Like I think in the mid game.
Interesting. Okay. All right. So Shock's going down, which I think is fine.
Yeah, Shock's trying to get to the 6-3 here.
Yeah, it was
Here
it was rough because yeah, as
buddy.
soon as I put the road down, it was like the road player getting ore like not good. So everybody kind of they almost fled chaos the plow to 6-3.
Oh wow.
Well,
Yeah,
and
by
what
everyone they meant
what I
me.
didn't
I
let
was
on
just
there
really
though
scared
is,
of shock the whole game.
and we kind of had some pretty good table talk in this one, but I was trying to get them
Yeah.
to give me the plow for the 6-3, but I was going to use that plow to get to the 4-3 too, because I just knew how important that was for my game. But thankfully, I didn't have to betray you guys like that because we didn't have what it took for the plow. But
Yeah. You know what you could do? It's like, I mean, there's all sorts of, like, if you ever get the plow, you can also get leverage on shock and make a deal and then go to the 4-3-2. Because like the 4-3-2 is just better for you here.
yes, yeah, definitively better.
So, I mean, I don't know. You could get the 6-3, but you'd rather get the extra wheat just to, get your setup really moving. So be cautious of doing something that's overly defensive, especially in the beginning. It's all about keeping the aggression up, staying proactive. Like, don't get overly defensive in your first, while everyone's at 2 points. It's not necessary. And I do think shock, to not cause any alarm, you could just go for the 5-8 here, which serves the same purpose while also picking up a port, which arguably I think is better here.
Yeah, I agree. I figured if I got into the 6, it wouldn't be blocked as much as we would all be defending it.
Yeah, but also the port's good. And two, it does limit some of the options of green. But, green's kind of in a weird situation after taking the 8-10-2 for sure. But okay. So I can kind of see there's a little bit of energy slowing down shock, which is, as the OWS players, maybe you want to kind of throw some heat on the road player. Fair enough. Okay, so bouncing between. So I'm assuming it's going to live between essentially this whole area over here. 6, 9, 3, and 5, right?
It was great.
Yeah, okay. Makes a lot of sense. So I wonder, what was the first big move here from you guys? Okay, so you got your settle. Any reason you didn't go for the 4-3-2?
Yeah, and I think that was a miscalculation that slowed me down on the city front.
Mm-hmm.
But I just really wanted to be able to get some exposure to brick here, and I thought that would help me expand more into the top part of the board. And then that 11, not to spoil it, but that rolled once all game. So it was
it
that
worth
settle
it?
didn't really do me any good. It was not worth it.
It was not worth it.
If I was on the 4-3-2 earlier, that would have been much better.
Yeah, I think you need to, like I said earlier, and we'll learn about this in the next session, but you've got two main priorities: a road settle and a city. So you got to think, what's the best road settle and what's the best city?
Yes, and the tough part is I think I knew that other one was better, but I was just like, missing out on brick. I won it, but I should have had the discipline there to realize what was better versus just getting the extra resource there.
Yeah. And the thing here too, remember we talked about the spirit of the board? Knowing that there's literally no break on this board, what's the spirit? The spirit is going to be everyone's going to be dropping cities and buying development cards. So if you, especially in your position where that's really your thing, and wasting that opportunity for the road settle to not enhance that thing, it could actually hurt you more than help you. I mean, I think
especially with me having the
that.
2 wood, and even with the 2 wood, it's like even if I get brick, it's not going to do me much good here.
Yeah. I mean, at least you're realizing that for sure. So let's actually go. This is such a cool feature to be able to go through each player's hands. Well, Shock's got a road. Got a Michael. Okay, so he's got a VP. Now Shock gave up. He goes for the sheep port. What's going on, man?
Yeah, I had too much sheep. That was the plan initially with the second settle, but I lost track of it.
Yeah. I think it's having clear objectives is important. And I actually said this. I literally said, I don't know if you caught it when we came in. The 893 is actually all about the sheep port here. Period. Because you should expect to lose to 8-5 in a lot of calculations. So I think that's just got to be that's what's going to help your efficiency immensely. Okay, so now the sheep's coming in. Also, too, just a quick note. I mean, we've already talked about this, but again, that 3-1 would just make such a massive difference for you here. Okay, so you're good. 9's rolling. So I'm just gonna kind of go through this real quick. Oh, solo. That's interesting. So let's kind of go towards the middle of the game, and we'll just take stock of what's going on here. Okay, so let me take a look. So Michael's going for devs. He's already pulled, so he's got 2 VPs, which is kind of awkward.
Yeah.
Slug's definitely going to be going devs. Interesting, he goes for the 4-8. I like that, though. Yeah, I mean, obviously going for the Wii port enhancement. Shock's doing pretty well. He kind of got everything he wanted. So that worked out nicely for him. No, and then who's left here? White. Yeah, I mean, I think you're just going to struggle, man. I really do. I think you've lost a lot of time. And now that, like, let's say those knights are starting to get played, once they start blocking the 9, you can't really get your setup moving. So I think it's a good thing to look at your setup and understand what's your weakness and can you fix that weakness early. That's also a good way to look at it. And your weakness here is the wheat. So I think if you had that in the back of your mind, you probably would have done something different. All right, so are there any okay, so we got a city. White has some dev skis. I'm kind of just blasted. The shock now's dropping the big boy city.
Oh, I made a big move in a bit.
Okay, so I see you got the road builder here, Michael. Okay, big 9.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so you play the road builder here, and what a hand. Yeah. So what? This is settle city. It looks like
Yeah, and then I extorted shock for the wheat.
God damn.
Not plow him to the brick port, which I never would have done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that Shock took the bait on that one because the brick four was no good in this game with how little brick there was. But I think he was going for the double wheat play there on the 5, right?
Yeah, the double sheep.
Oh yeah, sorry, double sheep.
Yeah, interesting. It's tough, right? Because I mean, you could do it, and it could technically not be as good for you, but it does hurt him. So it's one of those situations. But I mean, damn, you're looking good here, dude. I mean, you settle and take road for the win, and now that you have all the brick, definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the brick port does work for him, right?
Well, when you see this,
better than the wood.
Well, the thing is now him like tripling the wood actually plays off really nicely with all this extra brick. But like, I think the way he did it is great. Like, if he got an extra wheat out of you and then he was able to still go here, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, you're not that scary right now, frankly.
No, yeah, I took it for the ore. Yeah, I think you offered that before the bait, so I figured, all right, we could just do it then.
Honestly, it feels like Michael's winning this game.
I don't know. There were some crazy trades going on.
For sure.
So White's cooking now, though. White is cooking. All right, I see. Okay, so you do have city VP or double VP. Uh-oh. I see where this is going. Uh-oh. All right. All right. So hopefully the...
Yeah, I literally called this too. I'm like, Brick can play road. He has army play as well. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Wait.
It was rough.
Interesting.
Did I not have dev there?
Well, I thought you had road, but maybe I was wrong. I mean, I guess you could use the road builder, right?
Yeah, I just thought that it would put a giant target on my back.
Well, you should already be the target, so that shouldn't matter. Like I said, I'm just looking at Chaos's hand here. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think at this point in the game, you guys were targeting me. Like, I was targeting Brick, and then you guys were targeting me. Because I was like, he's going to drop road here and win this thing. I know, Shock, you were concerned about that, but our other guy wasn't as concerned.
Oh, that's game right there. Right?
Yeah, that guy was throwing, man. He got me furious.
Yeah, I had the win in hand too.
So in this situation, you're saying Green was throwing?
No, I don't think he
Yeah,
was fully throwing. He
No,
was kind
Green
of
was giving
helping
some
Brick a
really
little
good
bit, though.
trades.
he was giving good trades to Chaos, and I just
No, he didn't do any trades with me. I only got one trade all game.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that was
he
the
checked
next
the
game we
trade
played
stats.
after he left.
Oh,
Fuck.
I could have sworn he traded. Maybe
If
it
you
was
check
another
like
game.
resources or activity, I think it'll show the trades.
Yeah, I think it was just. Yeah, I don't know. Me playing road seems to be a big target.
Yeah, the thing is with this position, like obviously, like I said, once you get the 4-3-2, this is just a monster spot for you. And again, Green should have taken the 8-4-2. I don't like, you shouldn't leave the space open. This is better starting game for Green, and he always has the 8-10. Right, so it's like you limit the middle of the board and you still get the 8-10. I don't know. That's much better, I think. Sure. So. Yeah, man. I mean, this is a perfect example of just having a clear advantage, where it's like, I think it makes sense to why you got Army here. You really look at your position. So, at what point did you get the 4-3-2? Just let me double check. Okay, so just a little past halfway, but I mean,
It could have been so early, and then I think it would have been a runaway win
that's
instead of kind of
what I'm
close
saying.
style.
Like you got it. Like let's say 60% in, and you still crush the end. Versus like imagine if you got it.
If
Here.
instead of building to the 10-11, if I had done it in there, it would have been a totally different game.
Yeah.
And I pulled 5 or 6 devs, and they were all knights, which was also a little bit of a limiting factor.
Mm-hmm.
Or actually, maybe one was a mono, but if I had been able to like pull a road builder or even like a VP, that'd have been helpful with this. But
got it.
I
think it
thought
would
Brick
actually
and
good
I
for you
were gonna
because I
really
was
like
close to
race
Army.
for. You were. I think you were. You probably had like one face down night at one point, like when I got to 3, I think, right?
Yeah. I was at 2, I think.
Shock, I think one consideration here is, I mean, obviously you got a little bit kind of confused about where to start building roads. Maybe even just noticing the threat of the 4-3-2 and how strong it is for white to just go after that first. Because like, if all else fails, then like you take this and you go to 4-8 and you like, this is great production. And you also just limit white, who has a very strong Warweed sheep with this.
For sure.
And Shock, I think you did realize that, because remember in like the very beginning after we did our initial settles, you were trying to like extort me for not taking that spot.
Yeah, no. I did realize that.
So
And then I think you just switched up
Was gonna
and set your mind on the
go
6-3 instead.
the plow. I was gonna go for the plow, but I didn't have enough.
So
Yeah.
So think of it this way: there's quite a few different ways you can get a card. Obviously, the most obvious one is you place on a resource and you roll it. One way is you can steal it. Another way is you can port it. Probably the most underappreciated way is you can trade for it. To me, here, Shock, if you get any excess wheat, I think you should know there's probably going to be some deals here for ore here and there. Like, this is how I play, right? Like, I get a certain resource and I make deals consistently that get me in favorable positions. So don't be so caught up in getting ore. Like, because the reality is this 6 roll is probably better for them than it is for you. So in a way, it's like you probably don't want the 6 rolling that much, because then they're taking off as Ore cheap players. Like, what you want is that you want their hand full of ore and no wheat, and then you're the one getting an ore plus a card, or an ore plus a no steal, or an ore plus a no block. So it's like,
I gotcha. I see what you're saying.
It changes the dynamic of the game, and it I don't know, it just gets you to think about the board a little bit differently.
Yeah, if I do take that wheat, it is quite different.
Yeah, because you know, just based on his ratios, he's going to have more ore than wheat in his hand.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, this is a great board. Like, there's a lot of just
That's a pretty
interesting.
good point.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting lessons here.